What is going on, irregulars? Welcome back on another Thursday. It's your boy Bobby. Caitlin, I'm still not over the intro.
We just sit here and we bop to it. Like, I hear it in my head all the time now.
It's definitely going to be like that ever playing thing that like I'll wake up and I just boom, 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 boom. And you're like, oh man.
Shout out to our boy Dan LeBate for hooking us up with that beat. Once again, we will always plug him. D.L. Productions on Instagram. If you would need anything music related, he's your boy.
Thank you again, Dan. That was killer. Caitlin, so we were chatting a little bit before this, and you kind of were just like, you know what, for this intro, I just want to vent a little bit. So there's the mic.
So instead of sharing a normal weekend drunk story, because I have tons, I definitely could.
True.
I did have another party this weekend.
TFTI.
I to be fair, you were working, and by the time you got done work, I was way too drunk to invite you. So
That's cool. That's cool. You know.
So yeah, but you know, in cue the Sunday scaries after said drinking, and right now this time of year is coming up on the 1 year mark of when COVID got real.
Oh yeah.
So about a year ago is when schools shut down, bars shut down, life shut down, and I feel like I've really been kind of just like reflecting on it a lot, and it's just I guess I've shared a little bit in the past, mostly early on, about my quarantine experience, which was humbling,
Eventful.
humbling to say the least. I got quarantined with my ex-boyfriend, so
Yeah, probably fun.
So I guess I kind of just want to like put out a PSA to people about just like if you're going through something shitty, because I look at my life now and I think back to a year ago, and which the whole thing was very unique for me, I think. But quarantine in general, right before quarantine hit, my ex and I had broken up, I think 2 weeks prior, and we had decided that we were going to wait until April 1st to try and get rid of our apartment and move out and whatnot. And we were kind of just like in this weird living together holding
like
period.
A limbo.
Yeah, like it was very awkward. And we had been together for about 5.5 years on and off. Fully thought this was the man I was going to marry, have kids with, like have a life with. Like we had all the same friends, like very integrated into each other's lives. So it was not a fun breakup or easy at all. And it was a really, really toxic relationship that just turned really bad after a while. So we're finally getting out of it, and then quarantine happens, and I'm like,
fuck.
Well, part of me is like, honestly, there was two pieces to it, because at the time, I've battled with depression since I was like probably 13, on and off throughout my life, and at this time last year was the lowest I've ever been by far. Like it was work. It was I have two jobs. I bartend and I have a full-time job during the day. Both jobs were just sucking me dry. I was like to the point where I was commuting to and from the city every day. So I was in the car for 2.5 hours in my own thoughts, in traffic, like, and certain things that I used to be able to do to kind of just turn my head off and be happy, like they just weren't doing it anymore. And I was just so depressed and so busy and like just not myself. So initially when quarantine hit, I was like, oh my God, like I get a break. I get to just like
stay at home.
The weight that lifted off of me. I say it now and I stand by it. If Corona hadn't hit and things hadn't shut down, like I fully to my core believe that I would have been committed to a mental institution within a month if things stayed where they were at, 'cause it was that bad for me.
Yeah.
And I don't say that lightly at all. It was really dark. And I don't think I've never said that
out loud.
No. I mean, I've thought it and I've texted it to my mom, but I've never.
And your mom's like, oh, Caitlin.
Yeah.
I mean, have another drink.
I'm dramatic AF, so people know that about me, but no, it was bad. But then moving to the next piece of it is I am now stuck in a house with my ex-boyfriend. Yeah. So, and like, it wasn't a relationship that I wanted to end. It was just one of those things that finally after 5.5 years, we're like, you know what, like this is not working. Like, but there's that piece of it. Like anyone that's ever been in an on-off relationship, I'm sure can.
Well, we know.
Yeah. It's like, you leave and then you love them and then you go back. So it's like, it was interesting because it was like kind of nice that we were stuck there for 2 months because it was like any opportunity that we would have had to leave and go back, it had cycled throughout that
Mhm.
2 months when it was just us, and it was just like very sobering and very like I got to see the parts of him that I liked and the parts that I could live with as a friend forever,
Mhm.
but I also got to see very, very clearly who he was and
Mhm.
who I was when I was with him. And it was, it got dark. It got real dark.
Definitely not for you. So with that being said, like where are you at now?
So I think this is like the quick version of it, but I guess basically what I'm trying to say is like I moved back home with my parents in May. Um, ended up getting my own place in August. I found a different bartending job, kind of like a breath of fresh air. I really have put a lot of my heart and soul into my friendships, and starting this podcast with you has been like such a cool, awesome thing that I'm doing. It's really had helped me meet a lot of really cool people and open my mind, and it's been great. So I guess looking at where I was a year ago and just thinking back to like the darkest days of Corona, right? Like all of us can
Oh yeah, I
kind of
remember when
sympathize.
that first hit. I just remember because like I lost my job, so like I was unemployed and like you know couldn't go anywhere. We all thought that this was like the plague and whatnot. And if you go outside, the wild COVID's gonna come get you. You
Right.
know what I mean? And we were like, oh my gosh. And I just remember like being in the house all day and just being like, fuck, dude. Like I have nothing. I literally have nothing to look forward to. Like I wake up and it's like all right, well, I have a home gym, so I guess I'll go work out. And then I'd be down there. I would get my normal workout in, and I'd be like, well, it's 11 a.m. I have the rest of the day, so I'll just keep working out, and then I keep going. And then before you know, I'm like, all right, it's
12:30.
12:30. I guess I'll make a sandwich now, and then
Mhm.
you're like, dude, what is my purpose? And like now, like for me, a year later, it's like I would die to go back to having like nothing to do. Now I'm like, fuck, there is not enough time in the day.
Well, I think there were pieces of it for sure that were nice because you weren't allowed to go anywhere, so you were forced to like take some time and focus on you. Like you could read that book, you could do that workout, you could make that recipe, and whereas like now we're slowly starting to get back to real life. This week they just announced that bars are going to be open till 2 a.m. again, and like
And we can sit at the bar.
your girl hasn't bartended till 2 a.m. in over a year, and I'm like, I need to start training for this because I'm going to be exhausted.
You play cue Rocky theme song. You know what I
No,
mean?
literally, I'm serious.
Da-na-na.
But no, but I think, I mean, with that, like, there's some good and some bad. But I guess what I'm just trying to say is if you are in a bad situation, if you feel like you're on the edge, like, do I stay? Do I go? Whether it's a bad job, a bad relationship, anything that feels dark and you just feel like you can't get out from under it, I promise you, no matter what it is, you can. A year ago, I looked at my future and I was like, okay, if I leave this person, I quite literally thought I was going to die. I
Mm.
used to say I'm going to die of a broken heart if I leave this person. But so I'll just stay and I'd rather just, I know we're not going to make it, but like, I'd rather just like, maybe I'll have some kids with him. We'll get a divorce
Ooh,
and at least I'll have something.
toxicity.
Right.
Love it.
But that felt okay to me. And now looking back on that, him and I are friends now. Like we get along so much better now that we're not together.
That's how you know that like you
It was
guys were meant
over.
to be friends.
It
Like
was
you were,
over. And it
yeah.
was very much over. So I guess it's just like a year of reflection. Like, holy shit, I am so blessed and I'm so much happier. I don't have it all figured out. I still haven't met the man of my dreams. I'm still learning a lot,
A degenerate.
but holy shit, the
I
difference
know.
a year can make.
Yeah, it's crazy because like there's a lot of things like that it did bring. There are obviously tons of negatives. Those are easy to talk about. You know what I mean? Like that's an easy thing. It's easy to be negative. It's easy to do that. But like, what are some of the positive things? I mean, I'll be honest. This podcast came from COVID. I
Yeah.
mean, and this was 100% COVID driven. Like, not like, oh, it's COVID. And, I'm bored. Like, let's just make a podcast. But like, no, a series of events led up to like ultimately, from the previous co-host and I starting this, and
Right.
then like it's now developed into basically a third job for us. You know what I mean? And it's it's liberating. I'm like, holy shit! Like if COVID never came through, I would not be doing this. And like how much fun I have podcasting. Like this is, I mean, it's work. Like don't get me wrong. Like Caitlin and I bust our asses. Like it's always in the back of our mind. We were talking about this actually right before we got on
Yeah.
the mic. Like
This is
it,
why we're both single, because we're dating the podcast. We're
exactly,
dating each other, but not really. We're dating the podcast.
exactly. And like, so it's like, it's very time consuming and this and the other thing. And it's like, man, I love this
I
though.
wouldn't
You know
trade
what I
it for
mean?
anything, and I
Like it
feel
is
so lucky.
so much fun. It
Hmm.
is so much fun. And it's like, but all of that stemmed from, I can almost guarantee you that if COVID never happened, never in a million years would have been like, maybe I should start a podcast. You know what I mean? Like it would
Right.
have never happened. But
So
it's
I
like,
think
here we are.
I think I mean I was fortunate I did not lose my job, so I don't want to kind of like knock anybody who did, but I think I challenge you in reflection to as a listener to look at this past year and just think of one thing that got better
Yeah.
from this.
Normally cherry picking is, against the rules, but I think 2020 allows us to cherry pick the good thoughts and
Hell
the good
yeah.
things that happen from COVID instead of all the bad things. Because, like I said, finding out the bad things or figuring out the bad things from COVID, that's Michael Jordan with a breakaway for the layup. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
that's too easy. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like, so the hard thing is sitting down, self reflecting, and being like, you know what? Well, what did I do good? What did I accomplish from this year? And, here we are.
Plus we got that new stimmy coming in. Woo!
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, this is true.
But anyway, back to off my soapbox. Do you have anything that isn't dark that you'd like to share?
Honestly, I feel good right now. Like even though that was like dark, it's kind of like uplifting. Like I'm like kind of upbeat right now,
Good.
which is perfect for today's episode because
Well, now
man,
that we just shared all this positivity,
yeah,
time to bring in some toxicity, baby.
yes,
So this week's guest is I'm excited. We've had a couple weeks in a row where we've had some heavy topics, which we've really appreciated and we were happy to talk about. So we thought we'd give you guys something a little bit lighter this week.
it's going to be interesting. You're gonna probably have some laughs. You're gonna probably have way more head scratches than anything else.
And
Like
if
what?
you're me, I feel jealous and I don't even have a story yet. So without further ado, we are welcoming with us today Sarah. Sarah specializes in fulfilling fetishes. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. So, little backstory. I met Sarah through a friend of a friend. And actually we've talked about him on the podcast before, my buddy Nick and his buddy is dating Sarah. And when I met her, we just got into talking. We were watching a football game with 8 other guys and all of a sudden she was like, "Yeah, I do this." And I was like, "Fuck the football game." Like I have so many more questions. So, Sarah, I am going to apologize now for we are going to drill you with as many questions as possible. So, thank you for coming out.
Thank you. No, you can ask as many questions as you like.
Love that. All right, so start out, just tell us a little about yourself. How old are you? Where are you from?
I am 23. I'm originally from Pittsburgh and I live in Lancaster.
So as we've mentioned, which we'll definitely get into later, but you do have a boyfriend,
Yep, I do.
which makes this story, I think, way more interesting.
Yeah, it's like made like the past year interesting because I've been doing this like obviously before I met him.
And
So-
then you continue to do it with him, or you
Yeah.
continue.
Kind of. So like that day that I met you, he was completely against it, but then once he like saw what it was and he saw all his friends taking part in the action, he was suddenly cool with it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's just get right into it. By fulfilling fetishes, we mean like, take us through the story. Like, where did this start? How old were you? Take us from the beginning.
Sure. So it started pretty innocently. I was 20 years old. I matched with this guy on Tinder and he added me on Snapchat. So he added me on Snapchat, and that day I had happened to get a pedicure and he messaged me. He was like, "Oh, I really like your pedicure." And I'm like, I was kind of taken back by it. Like, what do you mean? Like, okay, thanks.
Did you send him a picture of the pedicure, or did you like post it on your
No,
story?
it was just on my story.
Oh.
Yeah, I was
Oh
just
my gosh.
literally innocently at the nail salon getting a
Mhm.
pedicure, and I just happened to post it. So he like slid up on it and he was like, "I love your pedicure," and I'm like, "Thanks." And then he kind of like told me how he has a foot fetish, and honestly, like when that happened, I didn't really know what that meant. Like I never talked to anybody with the foot fetish, and I didn't know what that entailed.
So, okay, talk us through that. What does it entail?
Just somebody who's sexually attracted to feet. Some of them, for him example, like the only way he gets off is by feet.
Like
Sometimes
by, like,
it's
looking at them, touching them, like
anything.
That
Yeah, like whenever he like saw my feet, he like asked for more pictures. He was like, "Please send me more pictures. Like, please, like I'm begging you." He was like, "If you do this, I'll send you money." So that's kind of how it started.
oh my gosh. So like when you say send you money, like what were the dollar amounts in the beginning? Like what did that look like?
So I think that was like $50. He sent it through Cash App, something like that.
Okay, so then he was the
for how
first.
many pictures? Just one?
It was just like 3. It was just a couple of pictures.
That
Maybe
is-
Just
a
your
video.
feet?
Just my feet.
Did you like have to Google like
and I'm
sexy
like, she
feet
has nice
posts?
feet. She has sandals on. She has cute feet.
I need to get them done, but thank you.
I'm glad I have closed toe shoes on. That's all I'm saying.
But you know how there's like
but-
an art to taking like a nude, you know,
Mhm.
girls and guys
Right.
always talk about that. Like, did you have to like look up like different poses and things to do? Like, or did you just like, yeah, I'm taking a piss. Here's my foot on the tile floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
like I just like took a picture like laying in bed like, "Okay, here's my foot. Like, what is that what you want?" And he was like, "That's perfect." And he was like, "This is really like getting me off right now."
So were you?
Yeah.
What was running through your mind at that point in time? Like
I
you're
just
20
thought
years
it-
old. Like what are you
Yeah.
thinking?
I just thought it was like honestly like really goofy and weird. Like fetishes are normal, but like a foot fetish is like kind of uncommon. So I was just really surprised.
did you tell your friends?
Yeah, so I told my friends. I worked at a lingerie store at the time, so I like told a bunch of my coworkers who I'm friends with, and they were like all about it too. They were like, "Well, we should like kind of like make this like a group teamwork thing." So we did. Like we would literally
Yes,
like
girl power.
before we would like go to the one girl's house like every Saturday night, and we would like talk to these guys, and they loved it because there was like 4 women, so they were in their glory getting pictures.
So how did you meet more people like this after the first?
So what had happened is he told me about a website that I use called FetLife, and he
Fet life, like FET life.
FETLIFE.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's like a British website, but like people all around the world use it. So FetLife, yes, he introduced me to FetLife, and I made an account. He told me how to use it. I joined a bunch of groups, and I never looked back.
So do you
Oh
still talk to
my
this
God.
guy?
I love how she confidently says, like, I joined a bunch of groups, never look the other
Yeah,
way.
you
Like,
join groups, you put like posts about groups, and at first it was just about feet, and suddenly it just like started like getting into more and more fetishes.
Okay, well before we get into that, I need to know: do you still talk to this man? Are you guys still friends?
Yes, we actually still do talk.
Oh my
He's-
gosh!
Yeah, we literally
still
talked
pays you?
yesterday. He hasn't paid me in a while. That's why I barely talk to him. But like, I don't know, like
Burn,
we have like
baby.
a connection. Like I
He's
still
like
talk
your
to
first
him.
love, almost. in a
Honestly,
weird
he
way.
is. Like honestly, like he like got me started in all this and made me earn thousands of dollars. So
Shout out to this guy. Love
Exactly,
him wherever he
yes.
is. Okay, so when you say it turned into more, what do you mean?
more fetishes. I learned about more fetishes.
Can you tell us some of them?
Yeah, so some of them include a giant test fetish where they want to be
a giant
trampled.
test, like TEST.
No, giant. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Like a giant fetish. Like they want somebody to be a giant, and they want to be 1 inch tall and be trampled on.
What the
Yeah. You can't make this shit
and here's the
up.
other thing too. We will preface the rest of this episode that we are not like fetish shaming at all. Like whatever makes you feel good, good for you.
Yes.
So when
amen.
we laugh,
Exactly.
we don't laugh because we're making fun of you. We laugh because we're just so
Shocked.
like, ignorant, essentially. That
Intrigued.
Yeah.
There's so many different would it be adjectives that we could describe. it.
I'm excited. I wonder what fetishes I have that I don't even know about.
Exactly.
Let's find out. Okay,
honestly,
what else is
like
there?
I like discovered how like honestly like I like sending them feet pics, and like I like having like my toes sucked and all that other kind of stuff. Like I
Ah.
discovered that like myself, but like the other fetishes, like that's not for me.
The giants. So like you just step on a dude.
They want to be trampled on.
So are you doing these things in person or is this virtually?
Everything is virtually. So
So
I'll
how do you
give-
trample someone virtually?
you do Skype. So they want to do Skype sessions, and you kind of like got to talk to them, explain it, like details.
So you're like, it's like phone sex, but like in person, or I'm sorry, video.
Yeah,
So do you like wear like heels? Like what does this look like?
my barefoot. Like they want like my barefoot to be on top of them.
Okay,
and
can you just like
trample
give me
them.
like 2 sentences of like what you would say to this guy if he was like trample me?
Say it in the mic all sexy too.
I don't even know how I would say it because it's literally more just like pictures and videos. But I mean, he's told me, one of the people who have this fetish, he's told me how he wants to be used by like a boyfriend of mine, and he wants to be an inch tall and swim inside of the condom.
Oh
Something
my
as crazy as that.
God.
Yeah.
He
Yep.
Yo, that is wild. Respect.
I-
I have nothing for respect for these people, but also I'm just like, wow.
where did I feel like we're talking to the other Sarah and Jay because I'm like that's how I feel right now.
I'm almost never at a loss for words, and I am like, I had so many questions, and I feel like I'm just
You're
blank.
blacking out. You're just blacking
Now I
out.
understand how you felt with Sarah and Jay. This is
Yeah.
wow, what a shit place to be. But okay, so
Oh my gosh. So, on average, like, how often do you do this?
So lately I've been really busy with school and everything, but I do it at least once a week. I make money at least once a week, but whenever I'm not as busy, I would do it every day.
and so when you were starting out, it was every single day. When you were doing this every day, how much were you averaging a week?
Probably 200 to 250 a week.
Okay, and obviously this is like through like Cash App and stuff, so it's like
Right.
just straight up money that you just get to have.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so great.
Yeah, never do anything with like Amazon having them like send you stuff. No, straight Cash App.
Have you done like Amazon wishlist stuff or like?
Yes, and they will lie. They'll like make like a fake confirmation, send it to you. So only the Cash App, and don't do anything until they pay you. That's what I tell everybody.
That's
'cause
what I was
people
gonna
ask for
say.
advice, like get the money first. At least get like half of the money.
Secure the bag.
Exactly,
That's
secure
like-
the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. So, average like, what do you say, like $30 or something like that? 30, 50 bucks?
So
Like,
for a single session, I call it a Skype session, quote unquote. I charge them anywhere between $30 and $50.
Is that like the going rate?
Yeah, I would say the going rate.
I feel like you can make more. I don't know.
How long is a Skype session?
30 minutes.
Oh,
And
that's
I
good.
would like charge more, but some of them, like once they like hear, oh, it's like over $50, they'll immediately say no. So I kind of like learned like to like be reasonable.
And there's something about that threshold too. Like your brain says 50. It's like, whoa. But if you're like 40, like, all right, whatever.
Exactly.
$49.99.
Mhm.
They're like,
That's a good
"Oh,
idea."
Mhm.
Yeah, $49.99. I mean, that's literally a marketing tactic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if you said
Like a
90,
Netflix.
if you said
subscription.
$95, yeah. If you said 90,
Yeah,
they're like,
95.
okay, and they're like, I'm not spending $100. It's like, well, you were $5 away from
Yeah.
it, bro. So
Pretty
yeah, you
much.
are.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So and then do you have like multiple people, or do you have like kind of like a small group of guys that you do this with?
I have a small group of guys. They like to be called slaves, subs, anything in that nature.
Oh my! So just weekly, you just hit these guys up, and that's just how
I
that
hit them up. So another fetish that I have learned
Fulf-
about.
fulfilled.
Fulfilled,
Yeah.
yeah, fulfilled. Not really, I didn't really fulfill it, but some guys are actually into sending women money for no reason. Like, I don't talk to one of these guys. I do not talk to him at all. And he has a very good job, and he just sends me money every week. He sends me $60 a week. And then once a month, he buys me a gift that I want. So I'll like screenshot something. So like a couple months ago in December, I wanted like a whole Lululemon set. And it was like $200 because it
So
was
yeah,
like
those
this
shits
like
are expensive.
right, like a cute velvet set. And yeah, he sent me the $200 on top of the already $60 that he sends me every week.
And you do nothing for this at all.
Literally nothing. I don't talk to him at all. I literally just like message him. I'm like, "Are you gonna send me the money today?" And he's like, "Yeah." He sends it.
So like, could you imagine like looking at like their text thread or whatever? It's just like you would think you would scroll back and see like some sort of like substance to a conversation, and all it is just like, hey, did you send me that money? Hey, did you buy me those clothes? Hey, did
Right.
you? And he's like, yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got
So
you.
how'd you find this guy, and where can I find one?
I
Yeah.
found him on FetLife, and it's called FinDom, so financial domination.
FetLife.com, FinDom. Ladies,
That's how
I
you gotta
challenge
do.
you. I
fuck
challenge
that,
you.
ladies. I'm about to sign
Yeah,
up.
exactly. I mean, honestly, a lot of them are into like having like another guy control them if it's a woman and then their boyfriend. They're really into that. So a lot of the guys that I talk to, they're like, "Does your boyfriend want anything?" like a lot of the
Caitlin,
time.
let's team up,
So
bro.
yeah.
Seriously, let's team up and
We
just
could fake a
fucking.
relationship for this,
I will
1,000%.
Oh yes.
100% tell every single one of these people that we are dating
Yes.
to make money. I already bought my AirPods, which that's a story that we'll tell in a little bit here. I already got my AirPods. It's fine. I got a discount on them anyways,
Oh
so no
good.
big deal. But there's a lot of things that I can see myself wanting, and I will 100% lie to these people to do this.
Well, this is what I've always said because women and people in general always like they say hypothetically, would you do X, Y, and Z for money? And I've always said like, not that I've done it, but if the situation presented itself, like, do you know how many dumb things I've done for free? Do you know how many
Exactly.
things, how many pictures I've sent, how many guys I've woken up next to, like, oh my God, kill me now. Like,
I
But if
know.
you woke up and you had $100 in your pocket, you're like,
this is
not
not at
that-
all
Profit. It's a
I'm-
profit.
Yeah, I mean, my dad's listening. Sorry, Dad. I'm not gonna be a prostitute. I promise. But like, I'm just saying hypothetically. In the grand scheme of life, it makes sense. Honestly.
So did you get any of your other friends into it, or like did you like recruit and all that shit?
Yes. So 2 Christmases ago, me and my one friend, we kind of met this guy on FetLife, and he was into buying pictures of just like lingerie, and he actually had a wife. After the fact, we kind of like Facebook stalked him, and we found out he has a wife. So
Well, I would
long
assume a lot of them
story-
probably do.
Oh, a majority of them do.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, long story short with him is he sent us both $500 each. And this is right before Christmas, so I'm like, I'm gonna buy stuff for myself.
Good for you, girl.
That's what I did, yeah.
So wait, was it pictures of you guys in the lingerie or just pictures of the lingerie by itself?
Just the pictures of us in lingerie.
Did you have to have your faces in them?
I had my face in mine because honestly, I don't really care. Like I've been doing this for so long that I just like
Yeah.
second nature
You're
to
comfortable
me.
with it, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if she did or not, but
So
I
were you guys
mean-
in the photos together?
no, it was separate.
Oh my
And the cool thing is
God.
we work at a lingerie store, so we had
They
the
just
hookup.
return the shit.
Exactly. We could no,
Go
literally
in the fitting room.
Exactly, that's what we did. We went in the
Oh,
fitting room like
man.
while we weren't busy, and we tried this shit on, sent it, and we got
So not only are you getting your hourly pay at the fucking store, but you're getting paid by some dude. What the
Amazing.
fuck.
yeah.
I'm gonna sign up. Let's do it.
I'm a
You
big
Caitlin,
should.
I'm telling you.
I encourage it.
Of course you encourage it. You make bank.
Hell yeah. So have you ever had times, obviously, I mean, I think you're pretty confident. You're 23. I'm blown away by your level of confidence, by the way. Good for you. That's
Thank
it's hard enough in today's world to have that kind of like sense of self. So I think you're definitely there. Have there been times at all through this that you've like second guessed what you're doing or like felt bad about yourself at all?
I wouldn't say necessarily felt bad about myself, but like I felt guilty doing it just because like about like not really like kind of like my future. Like whenever I have like my own kids, I don't want them to like find out themselves. Like I want to honestly tell them that this is what I did.
That was gonna be my next question. Like, are you going to tell your kids, or are you gonna try and keep it and not let them know?
I'm definitely gonna tell them because I mean, whenever they're old enough, it's bound to happen, and I think that you should have that open relationship with your children.
That's how do you confidently, like, or how do you unconfidently not like?
You
Or
can't
I don't even know what I'm
argue that. You
saying.
I don't
can't
know
argue
how
that.
to do it.
No,
Yeah.
you can't argue with that is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
wow. So does your family know?
Yes and no. My sister, she knows like all the details. Her and I are 3 years apart and
Is she 3 years younger?
3 years younger. And
Okay.
she's actually like taking pictures of her feet just to get like money
A
too.
quick buck, yeah.
Exactly, because they were like, they know I have a sister, and they're like, "Oh, can I get pictures of her feet too?" I'm like, "Okay, sure." My mom.
So you just like relay, like she'll take a picture of her feet, send it to you, you send to him, he Venmos you $50, and then you're just like, hey, I don't know your sister's name, but like, hey, Christina, like here's $50 for your feet pics. Thanks.
Sometimes I don't even like give it to her.
Oh my, a true
No, I'm kidding.
entrepreneur.
No, like I'll like get her something. Like that's just what we do. But my mom knows about it. She thinks it's like mostly just like feet, but I mean she's pretty cool. I'm not like super super close with my parents, but they know about it.
So what does your dad think? I think that's like from a guy's perspective, that's like the biggest
Right.
question. Like, Oh, because there's always that joke, like, my only job as a father is to keep my girl off the pole. It's like, well, did you know that they send pictures of their feet for money? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a thing now. So, like,
And
what
also,
is
like, no hate on strippers, man. They're living a
they
better
make
life
fucking
than we
bank.
are.
They make
Yeah.
fucking bank, bro. But so
So
what does he think about this?
He doesn't really know. Like, he's honestly, like, really, like, low key. He knows, like, the extent of it. But my mom, she'll be like, don't you feel bad, like, these random guys just paying you money for no reason? I'm like, I don't feel
no,
bad at all.
not at all.
No, it's their doing. I don't
Yeah.
feel bad. Makes me happy.
At any point, did you feel bad? Has there ever been like a time where you felt bad for these gentlemen?
I feel bad for them, not because they send me money, but more so like their situation because a lot of them are married. So I feel partially guilty, but that's their doing. If they're going to
Yeah, you're
be
not cheating.
right,
You
if
know,
they're going to be unfaithful to their wife, that's on them. It's not on me. Like, my boyfriend knows about it, so it's up to you for you to tell your wife.
Well, I think we've kind of talked about this a little bit in the Facebook group, and I'd love to have a further discussion moving forward. But a lot of men who seek out this kind of pleasure have these fetishes that they're embarrassed of, so they don't want to
Exactly.
talk to their wives about it. And
they probably don't even want to talk to their boys about it
yeah, I
either.
mean,
Yeah.
and I think above all else, at the end of this episode, like, no shame for fetishes. If you're into it, like,
Like I
life
said,
is so short. Like, fuck it, just do what you want to do. But I think I almost want to say, like, I don't know what the perfect, like, remedy is for that, because he's not technically cheating on his wife, right? Like, he's able to fulfill this,
yeah,
what
but
he deems as like a shameful part of who he is, without having to cross any like physical lines.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know, like a lot of them will mention their wife. They'll be like, my wife is downstairs making dinner. And I mean, I'll feel guilty about that, but then again, like I said, that's their doing. So I don't really care.
Do they say it like they feel bad, or does that like turn them on?
Oh no,
or-
it like turns them on. Like the one guy, he was like, my wife is like a preppy bitch who only wears like black panties. So
I guess
so he wants to explore a little
he
bit
wants
more.
to explore, and I mean, he's older, so he wants like the idea of like a younger woman, like probably like satisfies them a lot, and they like a younger woman telling them what to do.
I have a question.
Wait,
What?
first of all, should I buy other colors than black panties? Like, what does that mean? I'm confused.
No, he meant like Hanes black panties.
Oh shit, I don't have that. Okay,
No,
let's
no,
just
no,
clarify.
no, you're good. No,
I
I
repeat. I
right,
don't-
black
okay.
panties. They go with every bra. I feel you.
Okay,
That's-
okay.
Okay. So I have a question. What if you were to find out that your current boyfriend was doing this like behind your back and paying other girls? What would that make you feel like?
If he was doing it behind my back, obviously, like I would break things off. Like, I mean, if you're like doing that type of stuff and you're not being honest about it, I don't think you're gonna change your pattern of behavior. But honestly, if I'm being honest, I would like never let him, like at all.
Oh, that's interesting.
No, like I'm the jealous type. Like I'm very jealous, and I just wouldn't let him do it.
Well, I mean, like,
I
You
won't even
wouldn't
let a girl touch his shoulder. Like I almost got in a fight at the bar because this girl touched his shoulder.
Oh my god, I'm obsessed with you. You're like speaking to my soul right
yes,
now.
like I have like a feisty side. I'm Spanish, so I have like another side.
So when you met your boyfriend, how long you guys been together?
We've been together about a year. We met last January.
Okay, so when you guys met, how soon in did you tell him about this?
I told him the first night, and it was just kind of a coincidence.
Were you guys like on a date? Like, what was the atmosphere like?
We were on a date, and I mean, I was like a little tipsy, and I don't even know how it happened, but it just happened.
Is that how you typically proceed in relationships? Like, do you lead with this?
No, it wouldn't be something I would tell them on the first date. Like I would just like wait, maybe like if we're like consistently hanging out, but I would definitely like not tell anybody the first date. Like a lot of the people before I met him, I would go on dates and just kind of like go on different dates with different guys like every weekend because I had like the mentality that like no one's going to want to be with me if I do this stuff, and it's entertaining to me. It makes me feel good.
Well, and you're young too. You have plenty of
Right.
time.
Right.
That is, I just want to go back that like to if he was doing this, that you would be upset because it's like you're on the receiving end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're okay with those guys doing it, why is it not okay for him to do it? I guess because you guys do have like, which we'll get into, You guys do have a really open line of communication about this stuff with each other, and that's what we're interested in talking
Yeah,
about.
like yesterday, for example, I was over at his place and I was talking to a guy who had a fetish and he was just like right next to me on his laptop and he heard everything. So, like, I'm honest with him. If he ever wants to, like, see my phone, I let him.
So what was his response when you told him the very first time?
I mean, since it was the first date, I don't really think that he thought anything of it because, like, he just met me. We didn't know how things were going to go. But then before we actually, like, started dating, he told me that he didn't want to do it. And this was back in March.
Well, that was my next question. If he said, like, say that he came in the basement right now, we recorded this,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, I want you to stop. Would you stop?
For him, I would stop, but it would be very difficult. But I probably would.
That's called love. It's called love.
Aw.
That's called love.
Yeah.
But okay, so
So
I'm really curious. I can't wait till we go further into this with the whole
we're
relationship.
like little kids
aspect.
right now. We're like both of us have our shoulders
You
like
guys
so
are so
high. We're like,
giddy.
oh my God. Okay, so back to former relationships. So did you get as far as into a relationship with a person and then have this ruin it? Like, has this been a problem in any relationships in the past for you?
So relationships in the past, it hasn't been a problem because I was 20 when I started doing this and I was single for 2 years. Like, whenever I started doing this right before I turned 21, I was just like literally going out every weekend and I was very busy because I had 2 jobs at the time.
So this is not your only source of income. This is just extra.
Yeah, I work
That's
at
awesome.
a law office full time.
What?
So
Wait. Back it up. Tell me more about that. Oh my God, you're so interesting. Keep going.
so yeah, I mean, I work at a law office, but like nobody really knows. Like at the old law office I used to work at, they did know about it, but I mean,
How did that feel
Yeah,
in
did
the
everyone like
workplace?
keep it like hush hush?
it was like hush hush, but they would like make jokes about it. Like we were just like close and open, but like they didn't care. Like the boss's daughter, I was very close with her. She knew about it. She was like, "How do I do this?"
Yeah, I was gonna say she's probably like, "Yo, cut me in on this."
Do
Exactly.
you ever
What was
worry?
the average age of like who you worked with? Because I feel like a law office is like much older
Oh, they're
people.
older. Yeah, they're a lot older. I'm the youngest one at the office. I mean, I started doing this, granted, when I was 19 years old, working at a law office. I graduated at 19, and I've just been doing it ever since.
So I think as women, we often find it difficult to be taken seriously in the workplace, especially young, attractive women. I'm just calling a spade a spade. You're hot. I think
Oh,
I'm
thanks.
pretty
So are
decent look.
you.
Thank you. So I think it's a struggle that I mean any woman has at all being taken seriously. Did you feel like this held you back at all in that way?
I think when it came to like meeting other guys, it definitely did because I would like talk to a couple, and a lot of like what could have been relationships ended because of what I did. And before, like, whenever I was like 21, I was just in the mentality I'm young, I can go out to the bars, I don't need to settle down, I don't even really have time to. And then my mentality just kind of changed eventually.
So when those relationships would end, was that like did you dwell on it a lot? Like was it hard for you or were you just like, nope, keep moving, we're good?
My mentality was just keep moving because my life was so like rush that like that's how my whole mentality was when it comes to relationships, everything.
I'm just excited to. I can't wait to get Eric on. It's gonna be so interesting because I just really do want to see like where these two line up.
Oh no,
With.
I'm probably gonna learn a thing or two from him too. So I'm like excited to.
He's probably gonna learn a thing or two. This is like
Oh,
therapy. Oh my
yes.
gosh.
Yeah.
It is honestly no. This is like therapy, which is good for me.
That's good. We
This
love
is a better
that.
form of therapy than I actually received. So hey.
Amen. Well,
Are you in therapy?
Oh yeah.
We
Yeah.
love
I
love
see.
therapy.
Yes, I see a therapist and a psychologist.
Oh,
So
me too, girl.
Yes.
Yes.
One for my crazy brain and one for my meds. So.
Yeah.
Exactly. Literally.
But we love therapy here, so.
Yeah, we promote
Yes.
therapy, so that's
Mhm.
cool.
Yes.
I'm assuming they know,
Not my therapist. Like, so the
which
psychologist.
is weird because like, you would think that like
you
the
always lie to
therapist-
your therapist about a couple.
No,
of
I lied.
things.
Trust me. Like the psychologist, she's very like cut and dry. Like she was like, "What medications are you on?" And I told her like I have my weed card, and she's like, "No, your brain is not developed enough to smoke weed, whatever." So no, no.
We want to talk about that in another episode as well.
Yeah, we're gonna. Be
Anyway, I digress.
done. Yeah. So your therapist doesn't know that you do this.
No.
Is there
I
any reason why?
I
Like,
just like I don't know, like they talk about other things, so like I'm not gonna open that can of worms with them.
especially
So
if you feel like it's not something that you are ashamed of right now,
yeah,
you
and it's
know?
not like I have like a problem with it. Like if I had a problem and I really wanted to like address it with them, I would probably ask them and talk about it.
I was gonna ask, like, do you think that you have a problem? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you think that this? No, I don't want to word it
That
like
Oh
was
no,
a
I
that.
that
get
was
it.
a
I've heard that question before, and I would say no because like if my boyfriend told me like not to do it anymore, I don't think I would do it. But I mean, it's something that I've done for so long, like ever since.
Yeah, like talking to you about it right now and our discussion in the past. Like, I don't think you have a problem. You seem extremely confident and
Yeah.
like head on your shoulders about the whole situation. But like, I do know that one of the biggest things as far as like quote unquote sex work goes is that people are worried that that women feel trapped in this. Do you feel trapped
I don't feel trapped,
or
but
like pressured to stay in the?
right. I wouldn't say I feel pressured, but it is like a fulfilling thing to do. It makes me feel good about myself. And
Oh, I get
I
that.
just like, like whenever they pay me, like I buy stuff. Like I love shopping.
Mhm.
I love shopping.
Mhm. I will say this, I'm a feminist through and through, but let me tell
Yes.
you, when a man picks up the tab, it's like a little light in me just like flickers, and I'm like, ah, I'm just a kept woman over here.
Right.
And
Yeah.
two, like, I mean, like, we've all sent nudes, like, and if you haven't, you're lying.
Yeah, this is true.
And like, you look at a nude and you're like, damn, I look good. Like, and then you get the affirmation from the person that you send it to. It's like whether it's a nude, whether it's a foot picture, whatever it is, like it is affirmation. You're doing
It
something that someone
is.
asked you to do. You're doing it well, and you're seeing the reward of money.
Exactly.
Oh,
That's the biggest motivation.
Mm-hmm.
I have a great fucking question. Dude, Eric has no idea what he's in for because I have so many questions. Because right now, if you guys haven't noticed, it's one guy in the room against two girls who are like, "Fuck yeah, girl power," and then there's me like, "Whoa, what would I do if I was Eric?"
And
You know
plot
what I
twist,
mean?
we do have Eric upstairs, and we are gonna bring him on in just a bit.
Yes, we do.
Eric
So
is your boyfriend. We should probably let the listeners know
I think
that.
we mentioned that earlier.
Did we? Okay.
Ah,
Yeah,
who
I think
knows?
so.
Yeah, screw Eric. No, I'm just kidding. Eric's a great guy. Great guy. So you started out with selling pictures of your feet and whatever lingerie and stuff like that, and like you had mentioned before, like it started at feet and then progressed into other things. And some of these things that you discussed were like Skype sessions. So what does a normal Skype session look like? Or like, what, say that I'm user ABCD on FetLife and I reach out to you to fulfill a fetish, what would that look like?
Right. So the beginning of it, I would tell them the price. If they're okay with it, I tell them to send me the money right away. If they do, we will proceed with the Skype session. So during the Skype session, I usually tell them like beforehand what to like have with them, like to prepare, like stuff like butt plugs, dildos, rubber bands, ball magnets, you name it.
What's a
So
ball magnet?
Yeah, I have balls and I don't even know what a ball magnet is.
it's like a ball magnet, and like they like put it like near their like the skin. Yeah.
What happens then?
Yeah, what?
It just like pinches it. I think
Mm.
that's pretty much it.
So these men like being like, do they come
They
to
like
y-
to be dominated.
So do you specialize? Like, how do they know that that's what I guess you specialize
Right.
in?
So
I
what
think it's
they
like groups, like you said, right?
Right. So what they call me is mistress. So a lot of them want to be dominated by a woman, so they get a lot of like the toys that I mentioned, and they like to be degraded. So they like to be called different names while
Like
they're
what?
so they they like to be called like a pathetic loser, like it's stuff that like I feel bad, but like if it's consensual and they're okay with it, then I don't have a problem with it. So
It's funny how like when she goes to say it, like, oh, like a pathetic loser, and she laughs. But I bet you, like, when it's go time,
oh
you don't even
yeah.
fucking hesitate, do
No,
you?
like
You just
it's
let it
just
rip.
like yeah, it's just like second nature. Like whenever, and honestly, some of them like to be laughed at. A lot of them like to be laughed at whenever you tell them to do these things. They like to be laughed at. They like to be called pathetic losers, pay pigs. If they're into financial domination, which I explained about just people sending money.
So it is somewhat of like a character that you're playing, but if you crack like a laugh, like it's not like you're breaking character.
Oh no, they like it. It turns them on.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like easy because like I'm a laugher. Like I laugh so easily. So
and they love that.
Caitlin,
They
we're
love
signing
it.
up. We're fucking
Well,
signing
first
up.
of all, I would just like to say, like, I'm super nice. I don't ever insult people. But if I did,
Might as well get paid for
well,
it.
no, I'm being
Exactly.
very, very sarcastic. I love the word loser, and I love the word pathetic, and I love the term pathetic loser. And the fact, oh my gosh, wow.
foot bitch, pathetic loser, pay pig, worthless slut.
Oh
You
my
name
God.
it. Any name you can think of that's degrading, they're gonna love it.
That is wild.
I just, dude, I would be so pissed if a girl called me that. I'm just sitting here like,
I'm gonna try it. I'm like, hey, you pay pig, what's up? He's like, get the
You should
fuck
just, like,
out of my
say
house.
it to like the next guy you talk to, be like, hey, pay pig, just see what they do.
Oh, I
Oh
don't.
my
Oh my
God.
gosh! Can you imagine if the guy that I'm seeing right now, he would not.
he would be
That
like,
would not bode well
he would
with
just
him
be
at
like,
all.
yo, what the fuck, bro? You know what I mean? Like,
No,
dude,
he'd come back at me with something, and I'd be like, that was a nice.
yeah. Do guys
What the
ever? Yeah, do guys
hell?
ever like bounce back at you? Like
No, they don't. They know
they know their place.
they know their place, quote unquote, but like they're only into being dominated most of the time. Sometimes they have like another side, but I don't do anything with me being like submissive to them.
Well, I think that's kind of like, I mean, in the bedroom, typically someone likes to be the sub and someone likes to be the
Yeah,
dom.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would never switch my position.
I have
in
to.
that
I have
role.
to. I have to ask. Are you a sub in the bedroom?
Yeah.
I
That's
knew it.
Yes.
I knew it. I need this. This girl is like 5 foot nothing, like 100 pounds. This like little teeny little like cute thing. I'm like, and she's calling people a pay pig and a pathetic
Oh
loser.
yeah.
Amazing. But I mean, I think that makes sense
Yeah, because
sexually.
that's why I was like, if you said that to me, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna smash this little girl, bro. You fucking talking shit to me? Like,
But
there's
I
no
feel
way.
like it makes sense that sexually you would like the opposite because it's kind of
Yeah.
like a different. It's almost like I mean, it is a fantasy, you
Mhm.
know, but it really is. Have you always been that way, or has it really been more that way since you've been doing this?
So like before all of this, I would say I was like submissive, but whenever I started like going on FetLife and learning about it and figuring that like, you know, you can profit from being dominant, then I'm only dominant whenever I talk to these guys online.
So do you think you become more submissive in real life in the bedroom since this?
I would say no, just like kind of the same. Like
Right.
I have to ask, do you get off as well? Like, maybe not like these guys, because these guys clearly are like jerking off and blowing their load somewhere.
yeah.
But like,
Does
is
it
there
excite you at all?
is there-
It does.
does it sexually excite you? Because of course it excites you because you see your fucking bank account go up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, does it sexually excite you?
It does whenever they're like, so sometimes they like quote unquote like worship me. They like get on the ground and they're like, thank you, mistress, and
Oh my
like
god, that's so hot.
I like it. It is like kind
Oh,
of hot, but like it's
baby.
like hot in a different way. Like not like when I'm like having sex. Like it's a different kind of like
Yeah.
being turned on, which is weird, but
What if Eric were to do some of the things that you do to other guys? Like, what if he were to get on the ground and worship? Would you enjoy it? Or
I like tell him like jokingly, like I tell him jokingly. He's like no.
Do you ever like use some of your lines on him just to see what he will do?
Eric, all right. So I do know Eric a lot more than I met Sarah one time before this, but I do know Eric. I've known Eric for 4. Oh fuck, I've known Eric for like 4 years now. He laughs at everything. The dude just giggles at everything. So I feel like if you're like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna practice this line on you, he's like, okay. You know
He'll
what I
laugh
mean? Like,
about it. Yeah, he'll laugh about it, but he'll be like, don't say that. You better not say that to me. He's like, I'm
Mm.
not, and I'm like, okay, but like we're like really playful about it.
So at what point you mentioned that when you guys first met, he was not into it.
Yeah,
How
whenever
did that
we
change?
first met, so basically, whenever we first met, he didn't really care, but then it became serious. So last Valentine's Day, he took me to the Ritz-Carlton for Valentine's Day, and that's kind of when it got serious.
This girl's just getting spoiled left and right.
No,
like,
honestly, like
Eric's
I'm
good people,
very
bro.
spoiled. Yes. So yeah, he took me to the Ritz-Carlton for Valentine's Day, and then like he said, I asked him, I was like, when did you like start having these feelings that you didn't want me to partake in this? And he told me it was around that time, and then we officially started dating in March. And he told me, in order to be with me, like if I'm going to be his girlfriend, I have to stop doing this completely.
did you stop for a little bit?
I did stop, but then I started back again the day I met Bobby on, I think it was near New Year's.
Oh, so you had stopped for quite a while
I
then.
did. It was a couple months, but like I would like do it like on the low, but like I wouldn't do anything like nudes. Like I would just like if they hit me up on like
She would hit up the guy who just sends her money like, hey, I won $60.
yeah,
He'd be
stuff
like,
like
okay,
that. I
cool.
wouldn't do anything nude, but if it was like my feed or something like that and they hit me up, like I wouldn't hit them up, but if they hit me up asking for feet pictures, like sure, I'll do it.
So how did it transition back to you doing it more often and him being okay with it?
This guy.
Yes.
Wait,
What?
that was the catalyst of it all?
Yes,
Bing
it
bang.
was.
Sure was.
And we had a long talk after we were driving home from Nick's house. We had a long talk.
Okay,
And I was like, you better be okay with this because you just let me do this in front of all of your friends. So if you're going to let me do this in front of all your friends, you better be okay with
right,
it.
like,
That's
don't
what I
use
told
me
him.
as your show pony, right?
Yeah,
like,
and he was automatically, he was like, okay. I'm
I
like,
wonder if like the fact that he saw his friends like
accept it.
That's
yeah.
what he said. He said whenever he saw his friends accept it and like he saw that I'm not like naked or anything,
Right.
like he's fine with everything that I do, but like his boundaries are anything with nudity, and he won't let me meet up with the guys, which before I met him, I've met up with 3 people, just a handful of people, and one of them took me shopping, and then the other 2 we went to like the bar and they like massaged my feet and I gave them a foot job. So like it wasn't like yeah.
Wow.
It was actually fun. Like whenever you mentioned like does it turn me on, like whenever I was giving him a foot job, like I would say yes. So ever since I was born, my mom always told me you have such nice feet. So like I feel like I'm using it to my advantage now.
Capitalizing on that shit.
She literally would tell me that like whenever I was little, she was like, "Oh, Sarah has the cutest little feet," and she would be like, "You could be a foot model." And
Thanks,
little does
Mom.
she know, like look what she turned me into.
That's amazing. So I actually didn't know that night with Bobby was the first time that you and Eric kind of became okay with this. So way to bring it back full circle. Before we get into the story, we do have Eric here with us today. So welcome, Eric.
Thank you.
Eric, it's been a hell of a conversation thus far, and I'm so excited to have you on because we have a lot to unpack with you because you're on the non-receiving end of the money directly, at least. I'm sure she gets you shit. But
So Bobby, you were the one that kind of brought this to fruition. Why don't you take the reins and let us know how it went?
so pretty much how it went down was this. Our mutual friend Nick was having some people over for a I think it was a football game. I forget. It was like a playoff game or some shit like that. I don't even remember. And I just swung by. All of a sudden, it's like 8. Was there 8 of us? I think it was. Yeah, 8
Yeah, 8 or
guys. Yeah,
9.
yeah. And so I don't even know how
So
the
wait, it's
conversation.
all guys and then Sarah?
And then Sarah. She was the
Nice.
only
Yeah, I
chick
was the
there.
only girl
Yeah,
there.
only
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah, great hangs, but I don't even know how it came up, to be honest. Like what it was really, really weird. So all of a
I
sudden,
think what was happening was we were like playing a game and then like something had to do with like your feet and then like that's how it started.
did Eric say like he was just like, oh well, actually, and he kind of
He did mention it and then like I was like I looked at him, I'm like really, and then like we opened all of
well,
this.
basically what happened was I heard it and then I sunk my teeth right into it. I was like, what the fuck did this girl just say? And like
And
we
thank
said,
God you did, because look at them now.
I know, right? Well, it is funny because it's like I said, we mentioned before, like, dude, Sarah's just like cute little dainty. She's like 5'0", you know what I mean? I'm like, what do you mean you fucking yell at dudes and get paid for it? Like, let's we need to talk about this. And we just started going, and I was like, fuck this. Bring a guy up. And she's like, I can get a guy to talk to us right now, and I can get money. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Let's go. So then, sure enough, she like messages some dude, and he was just like, okay, let me go hide from my wife. And I was like, oh my God, this is fucking happening.
Was this one of your like former regulars?
Yeah, he's one of the regulars.
Yeah.
Not
so-
not to be confused with the irregulars.
Yeah,
He was
correct.
Yeah.
No, but maybe some of he probably is on the podcast. Who fucking knows?
I'm here for it. Let's go.
Yeah. But so then all of a sudden, like she's like talking to him. He's like, oh, like what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? And I'm like sitting there. I'm like next to her. I'm like, Eric, get the fuck out of here. Like I'm taking over. Like, and I was like, Sarah, what do we say? And she's like, I don't know, just fucking make fun of him. And I was like, yo, you fucking loser. And he's like, what? And he didn't know that there was like 8 guys in the room. She's like, oh yeah, by the way, like there's 8 of us here. And he's like, oh my God, they probably think I'm so fucking pathetic. And I was just like, yeah, you're a fucking loser, bro. Like,
Wait, was this a Skype session?
Yes.
Yeah, it was on Skype.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
he could see you, but not the guys in the room.
Yeah, he actually asked, he was like, "Are there other people with you?" And then I was like hesitant to tell him, but then like it turned him on once
my
he knew there was like 8 guys.
Yeah.
And he heard you talking, Bobby.
Oh, well, then I just took the phone.
Yeah, he took the whole phone and we were all like looking at him and he was taking over the Skype
So
session.
Yeah.
then you're already in, Bobby. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
I grabbed the whole phone and I was just like, yo, bro, what's up? I was like, are you talking to my fucking girl? Like, I just straight up just like got it. He's like, well, she asked talk to me. And I was like, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like all this stuff. And then like we were talking, it was something stupid. And then like, what the hell did I say? We all started dying laughing.
He kept calling you. He was like, "Yes, sir. Yes,
Oh,
sir."
yes,
sir.
It was so
Yes, sir.
Yes, he was like,
Bobby,
yes,
this
sir.
is your
It
new
was-
career.
It was like in a really soft voice too. It was like, yes, sir.
Yeah, he was
Bobby,
like, yes, sir.
Stop selling cell phones right now. This is your calling.
Yeah. So then I was just like, yo, bro, stop calling me sir. Like I was like, yo, fucking stop. And then he was just like, yes, sir. And I was like, dude, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? And then I think at one point I just like freaked out and I was like, all right, shut the fuck up and start jerking off. Like I just screamed it at him.
Were you
And he-
drunk?
No, I was sober as fuck. I was on a high, bro. I was
Wow.
like, this is wild. There's no way. And once I'm going, I'm going.
Like, don't you feel like whenever you started doing it, like it just like came so naturally?
It-
Like you just like knew what to do.
Well, like I said before, like I make fun of people all the time. I don't
Yeah.
like to mean it, but I like busting on people's chops. You know what I mean? And might as well get paid for it. You know, so like whatever.
Exactly.
So what else happened on a Skype call?
So then I gave the phone back to her, and I think he hung up because his wife came in or was like cooking dinner or something like that. And then he asked for a picture. And she basically kind of like looked over at Eric and she was like, is this cool? And Eric was like, well, what's the picture of? And she's like, well, I told him that I was wearing yoga pants. And he was like, Eric's like, hand me the phone. I'll take the fucking picture. You know what I mean? So we literally took a picture of her ass in yoga pants. And don't get me wrong, you're an attractive girl. It wasn't even that great of a picture. It literally was a cell phone picture.
Yeah,
The most,
with a TV in the background.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
literally
and
the
those
worst.
ladies who take nudes know, like,
Yeah.
it's all about.
Like I said,
that.
it's like the art of taking no art in this. It was like, hey babe, stand up. Like that.
Yeah,
It was the
literally. It
fucking-
was like you were at the mall and like you took a picture of like some girl wearing leggings. Like that's how it was.
yeah, it was really bad.
Really bad.
Sent it to him and he was just like, oh my gosh. And I think he sent you, did he send you some money or something like that right there? Or he was like, what do you want or something?
Yeah, like he told me that he would like get me stuff on Amazon.
Yeah, so I was like, yo, I tell him I want AirPod Pros. And then she was like, what? And I was like, yo, I'm doing all the fucking work right now.
Oh
If
my
you're going to get
God.
this, ask him for 2 sets of AirPod Pros. You get one, I want one.
That
She's
is
like,
so
let's
funny.
fucking go. So then we got him back on and he was like, all right, what do you want me to do? Like, and she told me before that this guy like likes to hurt himself. So I was like, all right, bro, tell him to get a pair of shoes. And he's like, okay. He goes and gets, this fucking idiot had no idea what he was getting into.
He got like a pair of work boots.
He got work boots. And I was like, tell him to put them on his hands. And she's like, put them on your hands. And then this dude is naked, right? You know what I mean?
He's on his knees naked with like fucking work boots in front of him.
Work
Oh my
boots on his
God.
hands, full hard on. And I was like, tell him to just mash the work boots on his fucking cock. And she's giggling over there.
Yeah,
And
that's
she,
how it was whenever it was happening.
she was
I
literally
laughing.
giggling and she's like, yeah, just fucking. And this man proceeds to,
Oh
I mean,
my
bro,
God. And
bro.
Eric, was this the first time you'd ever seen any of this?
Yeah, this was the first time I ever watched. Sarah
Like,
Daniels
were you
sessions.
like, what was going through your head at this point in time?
I was just kind of in Bobby's position. I was just like in a high. I was like, fuck it, let's just keep going. How bad can this get?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what?
So they were just like, this dude is just, like I said, like mashing. And like, we didn't say like, yo, fucking
Break your
yeah,
cock.
break your dick. We just said like, hit it. You know what I mean? And the dude took it upon himself to
Was he like
literally-
screaming?
No.
Yeah.
No,
no.
he was like pleasured. He was like, oh, this feels so good. He
Yeah.
was moaning.
Yeah.
I mean, I
af-
guess I
and after
kinda-
and after he hit himself, you could hear him like grunt because it actually hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
he
like,
liked it though.
Yeah.
I don't have a dick, but I can imagine that probably doesn't feel great.
Not at all.
No, not at all.
Then finally, like, he was like, I want to get off, so like, we had to fast track what was going on. So she was like,
Oh,
all
so
right.
this is a we at this point. Like, it's no longer Sarah, it's we.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
like a whole group affair.
There was
Oh my
literally
God.
not. I think there was 8 guys and Sarah. So there were 9 of us, like literally calling this dude a fucking asshole and like all this. Dude, it was insane. Then this dude and Eric's gonna start laughing. I know this dude starts beating his gat right at what would you say, Mach Mach 3. Like, this dude was beating his
It
gas.
was like 20 miles an hour.
Dude,
Like,
it was so fast. It was
I've never heard a dude jerk off so hard in my life.
yeah, like
Okay,
I
well, how many dudes have you heard jerk off? First of
also
all?
true. Also true. It's a
Um,
great question.
But wow.
Dude, a million miles an hour. And the
Possibly faster.
possibly faster. And fucking our one buddy, well, we won't say his name, but our one buddy was like, "Yo, bro, chill. You're gonna start a fucking fire."
Oh
like
my
like that.
God.
He gets off or whatever, and then that's when everything ended, and we put the phone down. Bro, I was sweating. I think I broke my calorie goal for the day because I was dying laughing. My fucking heart rate was through the roof. I'm like, this is insane. I cannot. Football was irrelevant. It was a playoff game. It was irrelevant at that point. We did not give a single fuck because all this was going down. And I asked before we brought Sarah on, I was like, yo, did that guy ever fucking pay you? And that's where she brought up the fake confirmation stuff, which she talked about earlier.
Yeah, that's why whenever other people do this, never do Amazon. Always get the Cash App or Amazon gift cards.
So he didn't end up giving you the AirPods then?
No, he like sent like a fake confirmation, and I thought it was real because I had like a tracking number, and he was like, "It'll come the beginning of January." Never came.
Did you ever hit him back up? Like, what the hell?
I like messaged him one time because he messaged me, and I was like, "We're not gonna do this unless you do like Cash App," and he made the excuse of his wife.
Oh,
That's always their excuse. If they don't want to do something, it's the wife.
and you're like, well,
She
fuck.
gets in the way.
Well,
Of
yeah, I
course.
imagine so. Okay, so just a quick question. You're saying that you're messaging these guys. What are you using to message them? Is it like, is there a specific app that you use, or?
I use Skype and I also use Kick, but primarily Skype because you can do video calls.
What's Kick?
Kick,
We're old.
Kick. I used it in high school to like communicate. That's like, it wasn't like texting, but like you could like do like stuff discreetly.
Like WhatsApp or whatever? Like,
Yeah, it's kind of
Um,
like that. Like
okay,
Yeah.
so it's
it's
an app.
popular like 5 years ago.
But so basically that was like my introduction to all of this. It was fucking hilarious, and I was like, oh my gosh. And literally that night I was like, Sarah, like, we have to have you on the podcast.
I had
like,
no idea that was the night that brought it all like full circle for
Yeah.
you guys. So you said you had a long talk in the car ride home. What was the talk like? We had a little bit of a snippet from Sarah.
Eric,
let's hear
what
it
was
from
that? What
Eric.
was that talk like on that car ride home?
It was more around like letting her know that I was like, yeah, you sure you can go like back to doing this, and it was more around setting like boundaries, like what's acceptable versus what's not.
So what changed for you that suddenly made this okay?
I think that's a great question, and I really, it's something like I've kind of tried to ask myself a bunch, and I think like in the beginning when I first learned about like what she did and everything, I was kind of like, oh, like just thought of it as a joke. But kind of like as like my feelings grew towards her and we started dating, that's kind of when I was like being, I guess, more protective from like a boyfriend perspective.
Right.
But then I guess what made it more acceptable was just seeing like what really happened and realizing that it's like for her, it's kind of like fun and joking around. So I guess that's kind of what made it acceptable.
So I mean, I guess before, and this I think can be true in a lot of areas in relationships, the gray areas I think are what, because you don't know really, you hear this, and especially something like this, like it can sound really scary and really like, how many people do we know that we have done this? You might be one of like 3 that I've ever met that do this. So I'm
One
sure
of
it was-
one to me.
it was scary. So was it like, I guess, just seeing it all and realizing that, okay, this
feel like-
isn't really that big of a
I
monster?
feel like it's a lot of like just like the fear of the unknown. Like you didn't
Right.
know. You know what I mean? You didn't know what it consists of. Like as far as you're thinking the worst, bro. You're
Mhm.
thinking worst case scenario because you just don't know. And then all of a sudden you see it, you're like, what? We just called this guy a fucking idiot and made him mash his cock between 2 pairs of boots, and you're gonna get paid for this? Like, go ahead.
Yeah, and since then I've seen like her do like a couple like Skype calls and sessions, and she kind of she cuts to the chase and sticks to business. Doesn't really.
Sticks to business.
I love
I
that.
love it.
Entrepreneur.
Yes, she is. Okay, so
Did it help like seeing that your friends were like affirming all of this?
Yeah.
Affirming, is that a good word, right?
Yeah.
Caitlin always makes fun of me for making up words.
I think that's
but-
actually right. So
Okay.
I'll allow it.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, like was it like did that help with like your confidence? You're like, fuck, like my friends don't give a shit that my girl does this. Like we're not judging her. We're not judging you for being her boyfriend. Like, did
Mhm.
that help?
Yeah, I think that helped a lot, but it also helped like hear everyone's perspective too as well. Because like you guys said, it's new. Like she's the only one that I've known that's actually like done it and then
Yeah.
also be successful.
Yeah, because like that whole night of that happening, like we didn't just like oh, you sell feet pictures or like you degrade guys for money. Okay, let's bring a guy up. Like there was probably, I would say, a 40-minute conversation about it beforehand, and everyone, all 8 other guys that were there, weighed in. They're like telling their perspective on it. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, this is how I feel. Like that's pretty cool. Like this and the other thing, and then it kind of built up to let's fucking see what this is all about.
So
And then we
what
saw it
was
about.
other people's perspective in the group?
No one gave a fuck.
They were all entertained.
Yeah, they
And-
were all, every single. I mean, literally, if I'm not mistaken, did you text me that? I think you may have texted me that night, or Nick texted me that night. He's like, bro, I didn't think that night was going to turn into like I had so much fun tonight. Thank you for coming over, because it literally was me hearing her say like, oh well, like feet pictures. I was like, excuse me, we need to unpack that a lot more. You know what I mean? Like
So
because I'm
the-
such an ass. You know what I
love
mean?
that about you. It's my favorite thing about you.
Yeah.
So the other guys in the group did they put themselves in your perspective, Eric? Like, did they say if this was my girl, I'd be fine with it, or did you guys go there, or?
Yeah, they were like, dude, why do you care? You know what I mean? Like, and while I listened to like all their different perspectives, that's kind of what kind of made me realize it's not that bad, and I should kind of let her like do what she wants to do.
Has that been a struggle for you? Like, is this you saying I should feel this way and you actually feel a different way, or are you just like coping with it as it comes?
No, like since like that night, I don't really have like much of a opinion. It's more of just like these are the boundaries, and please don't cross them.
So what are those boundaries? Sarah outlined them a little bit, but coming from you, what are those boundaries?
The two big ones are like no meeting up, and then no nudity
But everything else is fair game.
for the most part.
Do you ever hop on any of the calls?
No, but she's told me that like sometimes they like want to say like, oh, is like your boyfriend available? Will he join? And that I'm a little hesitant on. So
Have you haven't joined yet?
no,
Do you think you would?
very unlikely.
I mean, we
There's
also
probably a
think-
higher chance Bobby would join.
What do you mean? There's a higher
Yeah,
it's already happened.
What do you mean? Like if she moves closer, like we are. I'm just gonna come. You're gonna come home from work one day, and I'm gonna be on the couch, and be like, "Hey, man, I'm just making you some money. I'm also gonna get like a PS5 out of this as well too. So like, hope you don't mind. I'm getting you one too." And you're just like, "All right, that's fine." You know
Like
what I mean?
some of the guys know that I have a boyfriend, and like I said earlier, like it turns them on. But like a couple days ago, this guy he messaged me. He was like, "Hello, my owners. It's bitch Austin," and then he like calls him master.
Calls Eric master.
Yeah.
Does that make you feel good?
No,
No.
I don't really care.
He's like, no.
He was
whatever.
like, "I want to be a maid for you, and I want to make you breakfast."
Yeah, what the Eric, bro? Have
You're
this guy
like
come over.
passing
And
on this, and this is like my dream. Just like somebody like catering to me.
That's
Yeah.
that. I
I
mean,
don't get that.
So have you benefited from it at all yet, Eric? Like, have you gotten any of the like? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I just recently got an Amazon gift card that she got from somebody. And sometimes like if she buys things, whether it's like for us or for me, she'll be like, oh yeah, those guys, basically bought all this for
Yeah,
you.
I got
Sponsored
like
by Slave.
like a bunch of like house stuff for him, and yeah.
So you're like, this is what I always say. It's like you're a Robin Hood. You're stealing from the rich and giving to the needy. It's
Yeah.
it's a circle of life, baby.
It really is.
Yeah.
From a guy's perspective, because finally, there's a male
He
sitting
was
next to me.
feeling a little inferior with
Yeah,
all the
I was. I'm not gonna lie,
here.
because like they're talking about this, and I'm like, yeah, I totally support this. I support this. I don't give a fuck. Get your fuck. What did I say? Secure the bag, girl.
Secure
Like,
the bag.
Go ahead. If they're gonna fucking pay you to get called an asshole, like more power to them. That's fine. But like, where do you think your boundaries are fair? Like, do you think I think they're fair personally. You know what I mean? I think that's because you obviously both believe in monogamy. Some people
Maybe
don't.
a better question is this for Sarah. Do you feel like his boundaries are fair?
I personally don't really think the boundaries are fair
Oh,
because
let's fight. No, I'm just kidding,
because
don't.
no, because he said about like no nudity, but he said specifically like I can't take a picture of my boobs because of my nipples will show. So like to me that's kind of like not really sexist, but like men can expose them. So like I have like the same
Mm.
idea like why can't I?
And I'm not.
But like
sorry,
obviously they're like sexualized.
Spoiler: you have great tits, by the
Oh,
way. They're
thanks.
beautiful.
Thank
So
you.
I can understand number one wanting to show them off, but I can understand if that they were mine. Like by that I mean like yours, Eric. I would be like, Maybe
Yeah,
just
I can
keep them for us.
understand that. I can understand that, but like I can understand like the whole like not meeting up with people. I can definitely understand,
I think
but
that's the most fair boundary.
yeah, because
without a
like you
doubt.
never know what could happen. Like I mean, I have like met up with like people and I've been in like bad situations, so that's kind of like why I stopped.
All right, so we've heard from Sarah. Eric, do you have a defense to that?
Like as far as like the boundaries being fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think those, that's like a fair perspective to, say that. And, really, I guess my rationale for that is more from like a relationship perspective. Cause like, I personally don't think like, she would want me to kind of, sell nudes of myself. So
I can't wait until you listen to this episode and you find out the answer to that. He was not in the room earlier when we were interviewing Sarah by herself, so that was something we actually got into. But I do want to also establish too that I think we're just asking this question like, do you think it's fair? I think it's important to say that boundaries for anyone, when they're your boundaries and you've established them and you've communicated them,
They're fair.
they are fair. Period. We're just trying to
Figure out where you're where you're yeah, well, we like starting a fight, you
Mhm.
know what I mean? And on top of that, we try to figure out where your boundaries are. We heard from her what she thinks, what she thinks. It was funny too because I don't know if you saw me, I was actually like starting to smile because I was like, "Yeah, Eric, where do you draw the line?" And you were like, "Well, I draw the line at this and this." I'm like, "That's literally exactly what she said," which is the style of the structure that we wanted to have on the so it's funny how like what it proves is that you guys have talked about this and communicated about it a lot. So since that night that I pretty much blew all of this shit up for you guys, would you say your relationship's gotten better, quote unquote, or like has it gotten more secure in that sense just because you've opened up this line of communication with each other?
yeah, I think it has from this aspect of it because like you mentioned, like, she'll communicate with me about it or she won't like try to hide anything or, or I guess by me letting it be more acceptable, she's more willing to talk about it and I am more like understanding and accepting of that.
Okay. Do you feel like you kind of have like a Sarah, I'm speaking to. It's hard without having a video. Do you think that you kind of have like a weight off your shoulder now that you don't have to like hide it or like you can really just kind of express like this makes me feel good and I also get fucking paid. So yeah, here's an Amazon gift card and shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I think like his boundaries are fair, and I think ever since we had that conversation about that night, I think our relationship in that aspect has gotten stronger, and then just our relationship in general, as far as communication, has been stronger.
I was gonna say, has there been another conversation about this since that night? Or like has there been
Oh, every week, pretty much.
really? I mean, well, is it I mean, I
Is
guess
it a
it's
point of contention for you guys, or is it just something that you guys deal with and work through?
We work through it. Like I'm okay with the boundaries. Sometimes like I just not really like want to start like a fight, but like sometimes like I just want to question things. That's how I am. I just want to
Yeah,
like
you're a
question
firecracker.
things.
I see
Yeah,
that.
I'm a Gemini, so
yeah. So on one of our previous episodes, actually, one that kind of relates to this, it's like similar, it's spin-off of this topic, is we had a throuple on, a couple who is married, and then they have a girlfriend, and they do this thing called town hall. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard the episode. If you haven't, that's fine. Highly suggest listening to it. It's just as wild as this one. But they do this thing called town hall, and every single Sunday, it's like right after breakfast, everybody's sober, this and the other thing, and they get together and they talk about their boundaries, essentially.
Well, they just kind of say like, "Hey,
how they're feeling.
How was your week?" And I guess they said sometimes it's good stuff, and they go, "I had a great weekend together." Or if something's been weighing on them all week long, they really wanted to talk about like that's the designated time to discuss it.
Yeah, like if for example, the throuple had sex on Thursday, and his name was Jay. Jay paid more attention to the girlfriend and not his wife. She could bring that up at town hall comfortably and just be like, "Hey, listen, I didn't like that you did this," and then he could be like, "Well, I didn't like when you did that."
And it
they
was
just,
beyond sexual stuff. It was just the
yeah,
things in
yeah,
a relationship.
yeah,
So do you
relationship.
guys like,
Do you think you could find benefit in that with this?
or do you guys just like to do it off the cuff? Because I feel like I know your answer, Sarah. Because I feel like you're like me with this.
I have a feeling, so it pretty much just like happens at night. Like my thoughts are very active at night. So I'll just like ask a bunch of like random questions about it,
Same.
how he feels.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
And then Eric's like, "God damn it, I have to have this conversation again."
And he's not a night person.
Yeah, I'm not a night person, so usually like at night, when she's, most active, I'm like the least active.
I'm like
just
just picturing like an Instagram meme of her like laying next to you, like, do you even love me? He's like, I'm your
Oh my
husband.
God, that's literally like, I'm like, do you still want to be with me? Do you still love me?
That's amazing. So is it primarily you that's bringing up the question, Sarah, or do you bring up things?
He does
Eric?
not. He doesn't bring up the questions. It's like mostly me. He's really laid back, and I'm just like the one who's like thinking all the time.
You're definitely the aggressor.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
Okay, so speaking of aggressors and speaking of, dominance in the relationship, we did ask Sarah about the sex life between you two, and we were wondering, she dominates these men virtually. Does she dominate you? And she's like, no, I'm more submissive. Would you ever be into anything that she does to these dudes? Like, how would you react if she did this to you?
Well, I'll admit that I'm probably give more foot massages lately than I ever have.
I get what I want.
And from a relationship perspective, I'm the dominant person.
I do think it's important to bring up, Eric, too, that Sarah did have quite a few really good things to say about you before this, and just want to give you some reassurance here that Sarah did say you kind of changed the game for her with all this, and if push came to shove, like, she cares about you quite a bit. So, and it's interesting, couples that we've interviewed, we really only have one other experience, but it seems like such a taboo, like, part of the relationship, right? Because looking at it from the outside in, it would appear like, what is wrong with this relationship that two people are not having a conventional relationship, which is a lot of the same questions we got with Jay and Sarah, the throuple before. And what I think is the underlying tone for both relationships, while they both might seem unconventional to other people, you guys are both really happy and the communication is very much on point. So I think it's interesting to see how, like, that unconventional piece of it that makes people think this is wrong, it seems pretty right to me.
I feel like it's like a really small part in our relationship because like I try to like keep that as like the stuff that I do, keep it like to myself. Whenever I'm with him, I don't partake in that unless like somebody's like, hey, can we do a session right now? But I just try to keep it just to myself in my free time.
that's nice. Because as far as like the what is it, the 5 love languages, like, you appreciate quality time clearly because
Yes, I'm quality time.
oh, really? Is that yours? Oh,
well, I'm
that
kind of all 5 because like I like everything.
fair enough.
Spoiled.
Amen.
Yeah, but like, it's cool because you appreciate quality time and you realize that quality time is a two-way street. It's not just you spending quality time with him, it's the quality time that he spends with you as well. And if you're, focusing on this on the other side, that's not fair to him, you know what I mean, as far as that goes. And that's really cool that you can drop your bags at the door essentially when it comes to that stuff and focus on him. And then if something comes up, and I'm sure you're just like, hey, like, if you two were watching a movie on like a Friday night or whatever, just chilling, and some dude messaged you and, I want to have a session, would you just be like, hey, like, do you mind if I do this? And if he says no, are you upset?
I mean, I probably would get upset. Honestly, I'm the type of person who, like, I want attention. So, like, I would start a fight just to, like, push buttons. And I hate to admit it, but, like, it's not like...
She's saying what every single girl does. So, she's just being honest.
Yeah, I'm being honest. It's not like I do it, like, in a toxic way. But, like, I would try to, like, question it and, like, dive deeper into the reason.
And how have you learned to combat that, Eric?
Yeah. Because you're such an easygoing guy, but like,
yeah, I'm a pretty chill person.
Yeah, like, you're not, but like, you're chill to the point where like, but you still don't like let people walk all over you. So like, you know what I mean? It's really weird. Like, I don't know how.
Yeah, you got to balance that. It actually happened recently, like over the weekend, where she wanted to do a Skype session, and I was like, yeah, sure, like that's fine. And then like she did it, and we're just kind of like giggling back and forth as like the conversation is occurring.
Yeah, sometimes like we use it like as like a bonding experience because like it's just like funny to both of us.
That's amazing. You can drop the bags at the door, and then secure the bag.
Yes, that's like our new motto.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so we like to give our guests like a closing argument, kind of just like one last thing that they want to either say to one another, say to us, say to listeners that you just kind of want to get off your chest. Or
yeah, like, what would you like, as far as like from your perspective? We'll start with Sarah. Like, what from your perspective, what piece of advice or like what would you want to say as like your closing argument, like, when it comes to what you do?
Something that you wish people knew about it or something to that extent.
I would say, like, if there's females or males out there who are getting into this lifestyle, which it's rising in popularity because of like TikTok, be safe about it. Don't like some of the guys will be like, you have to send me money first, and it's like obviously like a scam. So get
Wait,
the
they're trying to
money
get you to
first.
pay
Yeah,
them?
literally, I got like a messenger like, if you send me $50, I'll send you 400. Obviously, it's a scam, but like
Yeah.
some people wouldn't, know about it if they're like just like
Just getting into
starting
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, watch out for the scams.
Yeah,
That's what she
watch
said.
out for the scams and be confident if people are like apprehensive and like judge you for it. It's probably because they're jealous, because it's easy to do and it's fun.
And then Eric, is there any piece of advice that you would like to offer, like being the boyfriend of someone who does this, or I won't even say boyfriend, because guys could clearly do this as too.
Mm-hmm.
The
What,
significant other.
yeah, the significant other, like, is there a piece of advice that you would give to listeners and that they could take home with?
Yeah, my piece of advice would be to, I guess, listen and understand more about what they do and I guess what exactly they do so that you can, make it okay and you're comfortable with that in your relationship. But at the same time, you have to establish boundaries and, communicate them properly and make sure that they're both sides are, in agreeing. I think that's the most important thing.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it, like I said, it comes down to communication and trust, which is the basis of every good relationship.
Absolutely.
Facts.
Eric, Sarah, thank you for coming on. I think that was really killer. Both of you crushed it. You guys did so well.
Mhm.
I
And they
know
were so nervous before they got here, and
They
they
were.
just
Oh, I took 2 Xanax.
yes, girl. She just gets in the mic. She's like, boom,
Yeah.
secure the bag.
Yes, boom. Yeah, that's basically what it is. So I just want to thank you guys. That's really cool. I mean, Sarah, I pretty much pulled it out of you at that night. You didn't really have a fucking choice but to share everything. But at this point, now you're sharing it on a platform where thousands of
Yeah.
people listen to. So that was really cool of you. Thank you, Eric. I'm sure it's not easy to talk about, your girlfriend making money doing.
But I want to say thank you too, because I think that's part of strong sexual women. Like, we've always kind of been taught that that's not cool to be that way,
Yes.
let alone to capitalize on it in
Yes,
any
like,
kind of way
People
whatsoever.
still are like judgmental about it, and I just
Absolutely.
hope there's one day where people can accept it.
Just not give a fuck.
And
Because
so-
people send nudes, so if you're gonna like profit on it, like more
Amen.
power to you.
Amen, sis. So thank you, Eric, for being open-minded, and then moreover coming here and telling people that you're open-minded about it. Because I feel like that's kind of half the battle. Being cool with it's one thing. Telling people open, like, my girlfriend does this, and I don't give a shit. I support her. I love her, no matter what that looks like. So thank you for that as well.
So Sarah, are you okay with people reaching out to you? If they have any questions or if they want to pay for your feet pictures, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So feel free to plug any social media or anything right now.
Sure. So my Instagram is XOXO Sarah SARAH 525.
There it is. Get all your feet pictures from there. So then Eric can get a PS5. So on that note, you guys know what to do by now. Feel free to follow the Instagram page at Irregular Podcast. Also, feel free to follow my personal Instagram, which is at YoBob, EYOOO_BOB.
And please give me a follow as well at Katie_ANI. It's KAITY_ANI. And on that note, we're going to go with some outro music and give one last plug to Dan LeBate, who hooked it up for us at D.L. Productions.
Thank you, Dan. That was a killer outro, or it's going to be a killer outro. I love it. On that note, we will talk to you next Thursday. Love you.
Love you guys.